Well, today's a big day, and in fact, we've had a little over a year and a half trying to figure out what to do next, from purchasing land to figure out facilities and everything like that. So today, we're going to show you where we're headed as far as facilities, and even in that regard, some ministries that we're going to be looking at. So in just a few minutes, I'll call our elders up here, but I want to show you the plans first, okay? And so just kind of tell you a little bit about what we're looking at and why we're doing it. So go ahead and give me the building plan for here first. You give me that first? All right. So let me help you understand where we are. This right here is where we are right now. This room. That's where your children are now. That's what we're going to build. At the end of this building. This will seat a little over 1,000 people and will be a gymnasium when we move out of it. This is going to be children and student space. This will be some adult space here. But this right here is going to be a school. Now, hold on before y'all get all excited. I'm glad y'all are all about that. And so the reason we're looking to partner, we've got some folks that are interested in coming in there. I don't want to administrate a school. I want a school, but the last thing we need is me administrating a school. Okay? So we've had a partnership like before when we were in Vidalia. We had a great partnership with a school that used our facilities, and they had their own administration. We had people that sat on the board, but it worked really, really good so that our church wasn't telling them how to run a school, and their school wasn't even telling us anything about our church other than thank you for the property. That's how it worked. And so basically, we're going to look for a school, and we're trying to make it hard for them to say no, because what we're telling them, if you'll take care of the utilities and your liabilities, you won't pay us rent. Let me tell you why. Because it's one thing, you can continue to gripe about the darkness, or you can bring light. And so what we want to do is we want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And the demand for Christian education is not going to lessen, it's going to grow. It's already growing. We've got schools that have waiting lists where they can't get kids in there. And so we've got that. Now the second part of our education piece is this. Anvil Academy. Anvil is a great ministry. They have a campus in Woodstock. They got a campus in Dawsonville. And so they are to middle school boys. And so what they do is they educate and disciple middle school boys through experience and education. In other words, they don't just hide them in the classroom all day long, they get them out. And they teach them how to work with things like iron and metal and wood, and then move around. But they also teach them reading, writing, and arithmetic. But they teach them how to have relational skills, how to carry conversations, how to look people in the eye, how to communicate effectively. And it sounds kind of weird, but all the stuff that's not being thought of anymore. And so they concentrate on middle school boys. And so their needs are basically, they need a modular classroom and a workshop, and they're basically good to go, except for the education stuff. So what we've committed to them is we committed to them we'd pay the salary of that school leader for the first 2 years so that they can get up and going. And they would be, well, show them the other property now. This is where we're going. This is where we are. This is where we're going. See all that right there? That's Perry Drive. That's the road right next to us. That's Harold Welchel. We have that property and that corner property and then this property. That'll be one of our church, that'll be the promised land. And so, and these fields right here. Now, in this phase, go back to the other one. In this right here, we'll have to take dirt from over there, and when we take dirt from over there, we'll go ahead and put a field in over there, a field, not a ball field, but a field. So we'll be able to start using the property right away. And so that's kind of what it is. And the heart is this, guys, and I'll share a little bit more about that. But I want to ask our elders to come on up here. The ones that are here, a couple of them couldn't be here today. And so they can kind of share what their heart is on this. And then if you're on our church council, could you stand up so they can see who you are, if you're not afraid? These are all these folks had input. So this didn't get done in a vacuum, okay? It wasn't me sitting down in a room all by myself saying, this looks nice. I will say, now this will be my 7th building plan that I've done. And so I do have some experience in building stuff. That doesn't make me a contractor, nor do I want to be one. And so I'm going to ask these guys to kind of share what these are our elders. A couple of them are missing, but just share what their heart is on this next phase. Mike, go ahead.
I'll tell you guys.
Wait a minute, is that on? Why y'all give me stuff that don't work? There it goes.
Well, I'll tell you guys, something Bucky's always challenged us with is that we're the plan. We're the marketing plan. We're the plan to bring people in. We are bringing people in from the community. And Bucky's challenged us recently with the data he's given us about the community and the people around us that we live in. And what I love about these plans is this gives us not something for us to be comfortable in and for us to build just to build, but for us to build to be able to reach our community and give us the tools and resources to reach our community with the school, with where we are, the ball fields, to be able to make this a place that we can bring people in, that we can reach them. We can reach them with the gospel. We can reach them with community, be the church and the lighthouse in this community. So very excited about it. And I'd ask you guys to be praying about those people that you would be looking to reach, impact, invite in the worlds that you interact in, where you work, where you play, and at home.
So I found out this morning that 10 years ago today, Videa laid hands on Bucky and Stacy and prayed for them to send them out. So I want to remind us all, especially me as I was driving to church this morning, what kind of God we serve. Especially to those Journey Church members, those 40 people. And you called Bucky to pretty much close the doors. God already knew about today. That's what kind of God we serve. He already saw this. Those years ago, when we had plans to close the doors, God said, wait just a second. So I'm reminded today about what kind of God we serve. We sang a lot about plans this morning, it seems like. Again, tell God your plans, and he's going to say, wait just a second. So I'm encouraged, I'm reminded about what kind of God we serve and who we serve. And again, driving in, thinking, okay, they were at a place where they were going to close the doors, and God already knew about today, and he knows about tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, that step after step after step. Mm. So when you see architectural plans, we see souls. We see people that would never be reached. It seems like we're being entrusted with something. Step after step after step.
So one of the things Bucky's been preaching about is that we can trust what God's going to do in the future by seeing what he's done in the past. This is my 10th year here at this church, and I can tell you that there's a lot difference. And we can see what he's done here. And so we are trusting that he's going to be faithful to us in the future, because I can remember when each one of our small groups now is bigger than our whole church was 6 years ago. I thought 6 years ago God was done here. I truly felt that. I felt like we were going to have to start looking for a new church before Bucky came along. And then now today, I look at a full sanctuary, and I'm blown away. I would have never believed it. And I'm thankful for the elders that came before us that knew God wasn't done, and they stood on faith and said, God's still got a plan for here, and he's going to do something. And so when we agonized over plans for the past few months and looked at a lot of different options, some of them we weren't crazy about, but this one we were unanimous about and felt very comfortable with it, and just knew, and we all got very excited about it when we went through it. And so we just know God is doing something here, and we're trusting in that, in this growth.
Hebrews says, without faith, it's impossible to please God. And what happened in growing to all of us being here today is simply from loving God, loving people, and being on mission. We're not trying to be in the building game, we're trying to be in the people game. That's what God has called us. He came to seek and to save those who are lost, and our lead shepherd has helped us do that. We've done that. And as we move toward this is a simple plan. It allows us to not affect programming very much, if at all, and allows us to keep on doing what we do every Sunday until we get to some of these pieces on the map. And I'm so grateful for the church council, for the elders, for Bucky. I've never seen a man more open to questions and to be challenged and say, well, what about this? He says, oh, that's a good question. Let's go. And so the trust that I have in our church, in our leadership, and our pastor, I'm just so grateful to be a part of this journey. And I'm looking forward to see what God does, because I think we can fill up that service in the first day. And that's a responsibility for us and our small groups, in our ministries, all those things, to keep on keeping on, because God's not done with us in this location, and he's going to keep on moving us as we see people saved.
So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. Let me just show y'all something. Go back to the other slide while y'all are up here, young. So here's the plan. The plan's here. There's going to be an upstairs part in that foyer. That'll make useful square footage around 27,000 square feet. So the plan is this: we build this, and the kids will stay there. And then if we have money, we'll go right into there. And when that happens, we're going to have to do something with our adult small groups, and we think we got a couple of plans to help do that while that's going on. The reason this worked is because it's the least disruptive to our children and students. It's the least disruptive. So anyway, now for what y'all all just hanging on to know, that's really good, Bucky. How much that gonna cost? So all in, it's gonna be about $8 million. And so somebody would say, well, why are we building here? Why shouldn't we build over there? I'll just be honest, I wouldn't know what to build over there right now. I don't know what our numbers are to build over there right now. And so I could guesstimate. So, but this phase is asphalting the existing parking lot. Our parking team is going to rise up and call us blessed, because we're going to asphalt and stripe that out
Amen.
there. And they're going to jump up and down and say, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. There you go, that's it. And then that includes all the site work on this property and that property. And so that's a high side number, but I've always found that when it comes to building, give the high side and celebrate the low side. So it's $8 million. So how do we get there? I'm gonna talk about that in just a minute. But this is it. We move at the speed of cash. That's it. Right now, we've got about $500,000 in the bank. That's where we are. So basically, we're going to say we're going to raise $7.5 million. And so I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, but that's the tag on that. So the first phase is that big metal building. So to get all the asphalting and all that done, that's about $6 million right there. About $225 a square foot, which is significantly lower. Now let me tell you about this building. It is a metal building. We're not going to go real fancy here. It's a metal building, which means we're going to take just about everything we got in here and put it over there. That's why we're getting it at the price. We're not, all our AV that's here, all that's audiovisual, goes over there. This stage we're on goes over there. These chairs plus another 600 we'll have to purchase, they go over there. Basically, we're gonna have a metal building with carpet on the floor, styrofoam blown in insulation, black out the ceiling. It'll be, I'm not saying it's not gonna be nice. I'll just say this. I went over to Hiawassee a couple weeks ago. Somebody invited me to a concert over there. Y'all ever been over there? Y'all seen what they got? It's barely a metal building. Got seats from 1975. I didn't pay this, I was invited, but people paid $75 a piece to be in there. And that place was packed. Y'all got to come in here for free. And y'all complain about air conditioning and stuff like that. And we got nicer seats than they had there. And ain't nobody cussing at you. And you ain't got to walk over a drunk person. Amen. Well, I don't know. Some of you might be. I don't know where you are. But I'm just saying, I looked around there and the folks with it, I said, why can't we do this? Why can't we do this? I get really tired of hearing how churches have to have this extravagance. And I go to ball games and we're sitting on wooden benches for 3 hours. Help me. Help me. Now, I'm not trying to say that's what we got to have, but I'm just saying, look, and we're not building this. The other thing is we're not building this so people will come. We're building this because people are already coming. And so that's why we're building. The plan is not to build something so we can attract more people. The plan is to build something because we have people that are here. And so that's kind of where we're going.